Okay, let's think about this paper piece now, this bodice thing. Now, I was going to tie my sides with ribbon, but I haven't got any ribbon that I think's suitable, and I could wait and order some, but I don't think it's necessary. I'm going to do like a tab situation, T-A-B, tab situation. But first of all, I'm really seriously thinking about stitching on this back with running stitch. And that'll have to happen before I put those on, and then mirroring that running stitch slightly up that left hand side. So what I need is a mat and my set square. My set squares there. Well, actually these lines should be straight, shouldn't they? These should be straight. And if I want to do it in between those, what I need to do, I should have my ruler here somewhere as well. So really the important one is, well, they're all important because they're visible at the bottom. So I'm thinking here, 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 and in for a penny. So between every mark on that paper I need a line, a straight line. So I'm going to have to do that by putting my set square along the top of these marks that are on this paper, these dots and crosses. Okay, so if I do a faint line there, I'm not going to do them all really high, and I'm not going to do them all the same height. So what I'm thinking, it might be quite time consuming, this. I do think it'll enhance, it'll just add that little bit of interest. So I might not get it done in time. What I'm thinking is, if I start this now, I can come back on Tuesday with this one to put the tabs on. Perhaps that's going to be the best thing to do. But we'll see, I might get it done, we'll see. I always think, well, I can do that video then, and then I forget that I need to progress it to finish it. So my finishing might not always happen when I expect it to, if that makes sense. For those of you who haven't done a class before, it happens a lot. So I give you this demonstration and an indication of what my plan is, and then you can just go off and take your time, but I have to progress things for next time, and it can get quite tight in terms of time. For me, it's not, I'm not asking for sympathy, I'm just, saying how it is. Now there's centimetres on here, but if so equidistant, I want to do up, down, and get a pin that I use to prick paper with. So if I start up, down, up, down, up, down. Right, so every half a centimetre I'm going to prick a hole. Up, down, up, down, up, down. And I need to finish on a down, okay? And then that's where I will stitch my running stitch. Now you don't have to do running stitch, you can do French knots, it's up to you, you can do anything you want. But I'm trying to keep this minimalistic. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, so what I think I'll do, maybe, is do this side where the paper piece goes, and then put the tab on that side before I work the other side. I'm just trying to think how I can get a tab on today before up, down, up, down, up, down. So some of them are quite small. Up, down, up, down. This is aerobics Karen style. Physical exercise Karen style. Up, down, up, down. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Something like that. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. I'm marrying this up with those lines, Audrey, by the way. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And the last one is here. Right. Oops. Drop my pin. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Right. So now I'll just try and gently erase those lines. Now I laid this on a piece of white paper before I was turning my video camera on. And this has got a pink tinge in it, which I'm not really happy about. I think it's the paper that I've used on the back. But I'll just have to get over it. Get over myself. I mean, I could maybe put more lace on there, thicker lace, but to be honest, it's the wrong stage in the process to do that. I mean, I could add it here, not through the paper, but then I would hide all this layering unless I put tiny bits on, but I might have a think about that. I could do that at any stage, you see, because it's not within the boundary of what I'm doing now or what's to come. So like I say, I'm going to think about that. Right, so if I get cotton abroader and a needle, I know I've got my cotton abroader because I brought it with me, there it is. Cotton abroader, scissors. I go through so much of this stuff, this cotton abroader. I seem to be forever winding it on cards. Get a needle, sharp needle, and I'm going to put a knot in this. So how far over do I have to go? So to that one, 2, 3, 4. 4 runs. Now they're not very big, so you might think, well, that's not going to take a long time, but it's not as quick as stitching on fabric when you're stitching on this paper, because you've got to be conscious of where your holes are and take a little bit more time, you know what I mean? Right, so I put a knot in that, and I'm going to keep quite a short tail. So now when you prick through paper, so if I was to start there, that hole is visible on the back. I was going to say not so much through fabric, but then I forgot there's paper at the back of there, so I can see that first hole. So it's there. Alright, so go through from the back. Always turn over and look at the back for your hole, because if you don't, you could just make a right mess of your surface by putting holes where you don't want them, creasing, by forcing your needle through. That's why we make the holes first. It's so much easier to do it like this. Now in theory this shouldn't take me very long, but I'm not in a hurry, don't think I'm in a hurry and I want to get rid of you. I'm just trying to figure out how I could have been so silly and not realise that everything wasn't going to happen as quickly as I imagined. Because my concern is you getting all this information this week. Alright, so I'll do a Henrietta knot. Now I don't want any long tails near the side that can pop out when I don't want them to. So if I put my needle through that stitch, oops, be very careful with paper. It would rip, depending on the paper, but they are obviously more likely to rip than fabric. Okay, so that's the first one. But like I say, if I don't get all this done today, I can come back on Tuesday. I can make another video tomorrow or Monday. Right, so up at the back, down. It's just a nod to the fact that you've embellished this beautiful front for this bodice, this little bolero jacket thing, and you're not disregarding the plainer areas of it, the paper areas. And just because they've got a bit of decoration on them in terms of those dots and crosses, doesn't mean you can't respect them by adding a little bit of stitch to them as well. You know, just like a nod to the fact that it exists and it's part of this overall thing. So I do think it'll, and you might think, what's the point of doing that one, because you won't see it. Well, who knows, if you've got this in a frame, well, I would never put anything behind glass, so if it's in a frame, somebody might, oh, I like that, and lift up, you know what I mean? It does, there is a point to it being there, and apart from that, I know it's there, and it makes me happy to know it's there. And if in the future, how many times have you bought vintage things and took them apart and thought, oh, look at that there, that you didn't notice at first? Well, it's a nod to that as well. Now, I'm not saying in 100 years' time somebody's going to come along and take this to pieces and think, look at the attention there, she's even added stitch there where nobody else can see. But that is the reason I do it, because I'm always so over the moon to find something hidden in anything that isn't immediately visible. So this is why I do it as well. It's a recognition of that. Let me cut that tail. So, oops. But again, always be careful doing this. Where's my, there it is. But I was going to say, if you haven't got paper at the back of yours and you're thinking, how can I find my hole at the back? What I do is put my needle through from the front like that. If it's fabric, and I wiggle it about a bit, and that tends to make a mark, not a permanent mark, but a temporary mark on your fabric that if you keep your eye on closely, you can then come round and go in from the back. That's what I do if it's fabric. Some fabrics respond to that better than others, but it is doable like that. That's what I always do if it's just fabric there and I can't see the hole. Fasten that off. And I've just got one more run to do before I mark my side, because I want my side to run off what's happening here on the back to marry up. So through there and down. If you're wondering about the tying with ribbon situation, Frida's done one, it's in the group, it's beautiful. She's tied her sides with ribbon. It's really, really lovely. So you could have a look at that on the Flickr group, or in the Flickr group. Right, so that. If you haven't got dot and cross paper, by the way, you can put this on a cutting mat and use a ruler to get your straight lines going up the back. If you're thinking, oh, it's alright for her, she's got dot and cross paper, I haven't got any, then it's literally just a case of putting it on your cutting mat and lining everything up straight. Or even, another thing you can do that I do sometimes, I've got a big quilter's rule. I don't know why, because I don't quilt. So it's like a block, so you could put that on, because you've got a straight edge on the bottom. Or even a set square on its own. Find a straight line and work from that, or draw a straight line and work from that, because if you do it faintly you can always rub it out. So put that on there like that. So that one is going to go up there. So I'm running on from the ones that are on the back. Just random lengths, I'm not. And then there isn't one here visible, so I'll just give a little nod to that and do one there like that. So in theory, when I put this on with the tab, they should run up from these that are on the back. So again, need my pricking pen. I've got a lot of pins in this pin pillow. The white-headed ones are silk pins, very nice Dritz pins. These are old ones with the bigger heads and the silvery things, and I just use these ones for paper. I don't use my Dritz ones. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Right? Down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And another thing as well, sorry I meant to say, so if you haven't got anything to square anything off, you can use a book. If you've got a book with a right angle, then you can just use a book. I do that a lot as well. It's a bit. So up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Up, down, 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 up, down. Okay. And then this has to be stitched as well, obviously. So maybe I should stitch this off camera. Up, down, because I don't think you necessarily need to see me stitch this. I'll just erase those lines. And then when I come back, we can put a tab on the side and the shoulder of this one. Yeah, sound like a plan? Right, you won't even know I've gone. Just to say before I disappear to stitch this, sorry I should have said, you don't want the tails of your starting knot hanging below here, so I'm going to start these at the top, okay, and work my way down, because then once I get to the bottom I can do a Henrietta knot and thread it through the stitching on the back like I did with this piece. Okay, I just thought I'd better tell you that before I start, get carried away. And then you're thinking, oh, my knots and things are hanging down. Well, just start at the other end. Okay. Right, that's done. Now I'm just thinking, I might get this all done today. So I know I said I'll come back on Tuesday, but if I get this finished today, I won't come back on Tuesday. You see how that lines up now? Hopefully you can. So what I'm going to do is make little tabs. Now I'm reluctant to pin this because it creases, but I might have to. So what I'm going to do is pin it where I'm going to just put one pin there, because there's going to be a tab there, and that should hold that in place while I do this. and then this will hold that in place hopefully while I do the next bit. So I've just literally got some white lace, and I'm going to fold it over. I'm probably going to have to pin this on as well. So if I put that bit there, I want it to be so that when I stitch this, I stitch through both sides at once. That's what I'm trying to do, I'm going to aim for. Just be really careful pinning. And especially like this, honestly, this lace, some lace has really thick areas in it that you struggle to get a pin through. Just got to be really, really careful. Hey. Right. And then come to the other side, fold it again and put it down. Now I'm going to stitch through this from this side, then I don't have to put another pin in it. So I'm literally just going to do little tiny like catching stitches. I don't really want the stitching to be a feature here because I'm trying to keep it as minimalistic as possible. So that needs to be folded over. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my knot in here at the back before I start turning it over properly, then the knot will be hidden inside. Okay. Make the tail a bit shorter. Fold it over. Pick it up. Just blow that out of the way. Now you can see I've got a little bit of a tail hanging out there, but when I pull my thread it goes away. So literally just go over and make sure, see I've missed the other side, make sure I come out the other side to secure that on the other side. Okay, I'm almost hoping that these stitches will be invisible, so make sure that each stitch goes through the front and the back. Okay, now because I started a little way from the edge, I've now worked my way to that right hand side and I need to be over here, and I don't want to trail this thread, so I'm going to take it under the lace, okay, to come up for the next one. And this is really, really, really scary work because number one, the lace has got really, really thick areas that are proving very difficult to stitch through. And number two, I've got that pin. I've got a potential here for massively creasing this. And I've got to be careful because the lace, the nature of the lace, it could be tempting if you're not 100%, don't take that out now. If you're not 100% focused, if you pull your needle really, really hard, and you could do untold damage. So now we seem to be making progress. So these stitches are virtually invisible, which is what I was aiming for. Now if I was gonna, I'll finish it first and I'll talk you through something. If I wanted these stitches to be visible, just a minute. So this will be my last one. Let's do a Henrietta knot. And then feed that needle in there just to conceal the tail. Like that, and then cut that off. Now, if I wanted these stitches to be visible, well, that looks nice actually, I like that. It's like bound it, it's almost like a binding. I would do my measuring and my up down along there to do stab stitch, and I would come up through the paper and down through the cloth. I always advocate, if you're doing a stab stitch over a lot of layers, so say one half isn't as many layers as the other half, come up through the thin and down through the thick, because coming up through the thick can be really tricky, and if you're doing it blind from behind, you can be making a mess on the front of your paper. So come up through your punched hole and down through all that, up thin, down thick, up thin, down thick. That's the way I tend to like to do that. So now we've got this other one up here. Now, like I say, I can't just keep going with this at the moment to finish it off, because I've got something planned with somebody. So I'm going to try and come back this afternoon and finish this. So I need to cut another bit of this for the top. Could have picked a bit of lace actually, Karen. Fold it over, and I'm going to do this shoulder exactly the same way as I did that side. I like that a lot actually. It looks a lot better than I thought it would. Oh, well, I didn't think it looked terrible. I thought it'd look okay, but it looks really, really good actually. So again, pin that one. See, this lace, honestly, test your lace. I haven't got time now to go looking for different lace, but test that your lace is responsive to being pierced with a pin and a needle, because some lace is so intensely worked that it's very, very difficult to get a needle through. So that will go there, but I need to put some more thread on my needle. And don't forget everything else we've done in this class, because those balls, these balls, I'm not going to, but imagine what they'd be like hanging from the bottom, or the smaller ones. So, you know, mix and match the things we've done up to now. Don't think, oh well, the balls weren't involved with the bodice thing, you can't put the balls in there. Well, you absolutely can, you really can. You can mix and match everything that we're doing here to make a short tail. So like I say, you might get another video after this one. I'm going to try, but it might be that you get that on Tuesday, which I guess you don't care. You're probably thinking, Karen, we really don't care, it's fine. So I'm going to put my knot inside. I'm going to go in the side at this edge first. Right, I need to tuck that under. I don't want to be starting away from the edge really. So tuck that under, make my first little stitch, and again make sure it's going through the front, and then you're catching both of these at the same time, you see. Then you don't have to do it twice. Go down again. Yes, it's through the back. Yes, it's through the front. Down again. Oh, this lace. Yes, it's through both. Now, this is creasing here. I'm going to take that pin out. But because there isn't really any hand embroidery in this area, I'm going to be able to press it up the top here. So, even though I'm really, really ticked off about it, it is fixable. Do that all the way along there. Now, this is, you could say that this is really basic, or you could say it's just minimalist. I mean, you see big stitched pieces. There's a girl's work I like, she's called Maxine Bristow, and it's all very, very minimalist, which is beautiful work. So I'm not comparing this to Maxine Bristow, but just saying there is a place for minimalist work, minimal embellishment, minimal decoration. But look at Frida's OTT in the best possible way. It's beautifully embellished. So you can do more with these. I mean, you could have beads dangling off these tabs, you know, you could encrust up where I did the running stitch up there, you could do that with beads or sequins. So that's a personal choice thing. So don't think, oh, I've got to do, you might think mine's boring, don't think I've got to do a boring one like Karen, you don't. Where I haven't put beads, you can put beads. Where I haven't put dangling buttons and things, you can do whatever you want. Just I wanted to just do a little bit like this, you know what I mean, with this. So the Henrietta knot, and go through there to there, and then cut my tail off. So like I say, I'm hoping that you will get the rest of this on Monday, but we'll see. It'll be Tuesday otherwise. There, now that is really nice, and in fact you can't really see that creasing from the front anyway, so it's not as bad as I thought. So I need to do that. Where's my stitch bodice? Oh, it's here. And then I need to do the same with this one. And in fact, it'll be nice to see how this side responds to this lace side here, because it'll look completely different again, won't it? Right, so I have to turn off now. But like I say, I'll try and get you this all boxed off on Monday. Okay.